Gauteng is the economic heart of South Africa. The Johannesburg skyline, the highways that carry billions of rand every day, the flow of money that keeps the country moving. But on those same highways, a different kind of economy operates. An underground war fought with AK-47s, military-grade explosives, and a level of coordination that security experts compare to special forces operations. In the first half of 2026, cash-in-transit robberies in South Africa decreased by 12%. On paper, that looks like progress, but the violence has intensified. More explosives are being used, more bystanders are being caught in the crossfire, and Gauteng remains the epicenter. One guard who survived an attack described the reality in words that are difficult to forget. "You must be prepared to take a life, or yours will be taken." This documentary focuses on the systems, the victims, and the people whose job puts them directly in the line of fire. It does not glorify the individuals who commit these crimes. Today, we examine how cash-in-transit heists are engineered, why they keep happening, and what the cost has been, to guards, to bystanders, and to the communities living along Gauteng's most dangerous roads. Every day, armored vehicles transport millions of rand between banks, ATMs, and businesses across Gauteng. These are not ordinary vans. They are reinforced with bulletproof glass, steel plating, and armed guards inside. They are designed to survive an attack. But the syndicates targeting them are not street-level criminals. These are organized networks. Former police officers, ex-military personnel, people who understand security protocols, route timing, and the exact vulnerabilities of an armored vehicle. They study these vans the way a military unit studies a target. The attack itself follows a pattern. A vehicle is rammed off the road, often by a stolen bakkie or SUV reinforced for impact. Gunmen lay down suppressing fire with AK-47s to pin the guards inside. And then, within seconds, explosives are placed against the armored cabin. These explosives are not improvised. Many are commercial grade, smuggled across the border from Mozambique and Zimbabwe, where regulations are weaker and the material is cheaper. South Africa's mining industry provides another source. The same explosives used to break rock underground are being used to blow open cash vans on the N12. The entire operation, from the moment the vehicle is forced off the road to the moment the attackers flee with the cash, is often over in under 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That is how long it takes to turn a highway into a war zone and then disappear. In 2021, footage emerged of an attack that captured the world's attention. Leo Prinsloo, a former police officer turned security driver, was transporting cash when his vehicle came under a hail of AK-47 fire. The dashcam footage is difficult to watch. Bullets hitting the windscreen, the sound of rounds striking metal. And in the middle of it, Prinsloo does not panic. He accelerates. He weaves through traffic. He gets himself and his crewmate, a rookie on his first day, out alive. The video went viral, over 1.5 million views. But what most viewers did not see is what happens to guards who are not as skilled, not as fortunate. Security officers in South Africa operate under a principle that is hard to sit with. You must be prepared to take a life, or yours will be taken. Those are not the words of a scriptwriter. Those are the words of guards who have survived attacks and returned to work the next day. For the men and women who climb into these vehicles every morning, the risk is not theoretical. In recent years, attacks have become more frequent and more brazen, happening in broad daylight, on busy roads, with civilians meters away. The guards know the statistics. They know the routes that have been hit, and they go anyway. The violence does not stay inside the vehicle. In 2025, a cash-in-transit vehicle was bombed in Boksburg on Gauteng's East Rand. Armed robbers descended on the scene. A shootout erupted between the attackers and security personnel. When it was over, 2 bystanders were dead. People who had nothing to do with the money, the van, or the crime. people who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, which, in Gauteng, increasingly means driving on the same road as an armoured vehicle. A few months later, another Boksburg heist. Same pattern. Vehicle forced off the road, explosives, gunfire. One suspect shot dead, 3 people wounded. The attackers fled. No arrests. In Hammanskraal, north of Pretoria, a CIT heist unfolded at the Renbro Centre, a public space with shoppers and workers nearby. In Thokoza, residents began saying the attacks were starting to feel normal. That word, normal, is a warning sign. When extraordinary violence becomes ordinary, when people start expecting to hear gunfire on their commute, something in the social fabric has broken. Gauteng's highways have become theatres of war. The N12, the R21, the N1. Roads people use to commute to work, take children to school, visit family. These are the same roads where armoured vehicles are being rammed, bombed, and robbed in coordinated attacks that are over before the police can arrive. Behind the street-level violence is a structure. These are not random crimes. They are planned operations with hierarchies, intelligence gathering, and money laundering networks that span multiple provinces. Collins Chauke became known as South Africa's most wanted cash-in-transit kingpin. From a base of operations that crossed provincial lines, Chauke built a network capable of executing some of the most audacious heists in the country's history. He evaded capture for years, moving between safe houses, using insider information, coordinating teams with military precision. His empire did not end in a courtroom. It ended the way many in that world end, in a daylight execution. Rival gangs, unsettled scores, the same violence he built his career on was turned against him. But Chauke's death did not end the network. Organized crime does not depend on one person. When a kingpin falls, others rise. The infrastructure, the smuggling routes for explosives, the corrupt insiders feeding information, the money laundering channels, remains operational. This is why arrests alone cannot solve the cash-in-transit crisis. You can remove individuals, you cannot easily dismantle a system. To understand why cash-in-transit heists continue, you have to look beyond the crime scene. 3 factors drive this cycle. First, explosives. South Africa's mining industry means commercial-grade explosives exist inside the country. At the same time, organized networks smuggle material across the border from Mozambique and Zimbabwe. The combination means that blowing open an armoured vehicle, something that should be nearly impossible, has become disturbingly routine. Second, insider intelligence. Many heists succeed because someone on the inside provided the route, the timing, the amount of cash being transported. Security companies have been infiltrated. Former employees sell information. The line between protector and perpetrator is thinner than most people want to believe. Third, desperation. During periods of high unemployment, cash-in-transit robberies surged by nearly 30%. When legal opportunities shrink, the underground economy grows. This does not excuse the violence. It does not justify what happened to those 2 bystanders in Boksburg, or to the families of guards who did not come home. But it explains the supply of people willing to risk their lives and take others for a share of the cash inside those vans. A 12% decrease in heists sounds like progress, and in one sense it is. Fewer attacks means fewer guards in the line of fire, fewer communities disrupted, fewer families receiving the worst possible phone call. But the violence is intensifying. Bystanders are dying. Communities live with the knowledge that their morning commute could intersect with a war that has nothing to do with them. And the people whose job is to transport money, guards, drivers, crew, go to work knowing they could become the next viral video, the next statistic, the next funeral. The cash-in-transit crisis in Gauteng is not just a crime problem. It is a reflection of deeper fractures in border security, in institutional integrity, in economic opportunity. Until those fractures are addressed, the armored vehicles will keep rolling, and so will the attacks. If this story matters to you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We cover cases that deserve to be understood, not just remembered in headlines, but examined in full. There are more stories coming, more cases, more truths that need to be told.